This is the latest video from Christine White's The Raven Project. Christine is a, quote, non-traditional music maker, unquote, based in Kapiti. And what is The Raven Project? It is music, it's poetry, and video. And here's Christine to explain.
Out to be a bigger project than it started as. It started as a collaboration with John Sarthis, orchestrating 3 songs that I'd already written, and for orchestral instruments and other instruments. And from there, it's sort of because of the context that I did those recordings in, I decided it was sort of, there was a broader context of what was going on in my life, and I thought this is more than just the 3 songs.
Right.
So the project broadened out to include a book and some videos, and another 3 songs on the B-side.
Gotcha.
So coming out on vinyl as well.
Oh, cool. All right, that's always a good thing. So, what did John add to the mix? Why what was it about him that you wanted to work with?
Well, I mean, John's an amazing composer for a start. The breadth of his knowledge and the depth of the different genres he's worked in. He's very passionate about music, and we developed a friendship over many years, actually. And so it was just from a conversation. It was just one of my nice to haves in my life. You know, I'd love to work alongside him. And during the lockdown, I said to him, "Oh, you know, this might happen in a long way away from now, but I would really love to work with you." And he said, "Oh, well, let's do something," you know. So, and I'd written a song about 6 or 8 years ago called Taken. It's an 8.5-minute ballad, and I'd always imagined it having sort of a string arrangement, kind of like the Billie Holiday days, you know.
Right.
And I thought, well, I need someone who's able to work in that field, you know. So John was my pick, and he's a good friend, so it's really nice working with him.
Trying to type a letter.
How much did the lockdown affect what the work ended up being?
Well, it generated the work. So just before the lockdown, I'd been to Australia. I was given the task of being a dial-in parent, actually, for my nephew's 3 kids. So I flew to Australia, and for 10 days was looking after 3 kids on my own. And it was amazing. And I became fascinated with the crows over there. And I also was re-listening to Joni Mitchell's Hejira album. And I love that album. And there's a song on there called Black Crow, which I decided as a writing exercise to try and emulate that song, the way she writes a song that it only had like 4 chords or something, but, you know, it just moves so beautifully. And then the lockdown happened when we got back. So I'd written Raven, but it was in a very simple form. And then it was just through conversations in the lockdown really that generated the idea. So as opposed to other people who are unfortunately maybe in the middle of a project, you know, and it held things up. It sort of formed the project. I wrote Starless Rivers during lockdown. So it was a good time in that regard.
And what was the process that made it grow from just being some songs and to a book and to a video? How did it progress?
Because the other thing that happened during lockdown was I decided to try and learn another language, which
there's that too.
Stereotypical. The stereotypical thing that people do, or maybe, I don't know, but so I chose Farsi, and it just felt like that process alongside working with the songs, you know, it was part of a whole context of my life. So I decided as part of my learning to have one of my songs translated into Farsi. Right. And the book came along because at the start of 2020, I decided for some reason to do an exercise where I would diarize the year, 1 poem a day,
Right.
sort of in haiku style. So very short. The haiku form is very amazing because you're condensing a whole lot of experiences in one day, into 3 lines.
Yep.
And I didn't know what that year was going to bring. It was a big year, and I managed to do that. So it kind of was like, well, this has been not just about the songs; it's been about the whole process of things that have happened in 2020, learning Farsi. So it just felt right to combine everything together.
There's a lot of languages in the world. Why Farsi?
Yeah, there are a lot of languages. My niece-in-law in Australia is from Iran. And I also have been fascinated with languages that have a different script or a different appearance on the page. I toyed with learning Greek for a while, but I thought I'll just be bugging John this all the time to speak because he's Greek,
Right.
And I was also very affected by the Muslim shootings that happened a few years previous. And it felt like a very foreign place in the world to me, the Middle East. I just, and in a pop quiz, I said that the capital of Iran was Baghdad. So it was like inevitable after that. Come on, I need to get, And so I made friends through a language learning app. I speak with them daily in Iran. So it really opened my world up. And,
that's amazing. So you're fluent.
I'm not fluent. Language learning is hard. Salam. Language learning is hard, and you kind of go forward and then you go back, a few steps, and you feel like you've lost it. But it does bring a new way of looking at the world, and even swapping your point of view with someone else's point of view, and it's been just an amazing thing. It's like, I guess, what having a child would be like and introducing a child to the world. You're really sharing experience with each other. And then we get to listen, to the music that's made over there. And I met an Iranian Comanche player in Auckland.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, well, I'd love to have him play. So he's playing on Kalak, which is the Farsi version of Raven. And initially I was just going to sing the song Raven in Farsi over the same backing music. And then I thought, well, that's not really, it sort of just felt like not a very good thing to do, to put on vinyl two same, music versions. Yep. So it was nice to take the recordings from those first 3 songs and just sort of collage with them, cut and paste them and play with them and create new music on the B-side.
شاید دیگه هرگز نبینم دوباره نفس کشیدنت رو تو از آتلانتیک گذشتی و وارد زندگیم شدی.
Some other folks working with you as well. So who are some of those other musicians? Or is Joe and Nick and...
Yeah, Joe Cord, he's an amazing guitarist. And I'd written Starless Rivers on guitar, but I really struggled to play it at the time. I play guitar, but I really challenged myself with that song. And Joe's amazing because he just picks up things so quickly and just lends a beautiful take on them, so yep. he absolutely learned exactly how I played the first verse, and then he just kept expanding it through the song, just adding different notes here and there, and his playing is amazing. He did it on a nylon guitar. So
rise at dawn, put your headlamp on, quiet is the morning.
Greek percussion player, Vangelis Kapilis, I think his surname is, a friend of John's. So he, played some percussion for Starless Rivers.
Right.
Michelle Velvin on harp, she's from Wellington Vector Orchestra. I became fascinated with the harp during lockdown. I was listening to Dorothy Ashby and Alice Coltrane.
Oh, yeah.
So, the African-American jazz harpists.
Yep.
And so before we even started, I said to John, I really would love to have a harp, So, Joe Cord, amazing drummer and bass player on Raven, Steve Thomas from Chris Mason Batley Group, and Dan Antonovich, who had just come back to New Zealand from LA because of COVID. So it was amazing working with them. They were.
How can people access everything?
How can people access the music? It's on all the digital.
Yeah, or everything. Well, there's music
The
and
music's
book
on
and
all the digital platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, everything else.
Sure.
Bandcamp is and my website
Right.
would be the places to go, but probably Bandcamp for ordering the vinyl and the book. Yeah.
Right. And you've got so the video for Starless Rivers is coming out.
Yes.
What tease us? Tell us what we're to
Well,
expect in the video.
what I wanted to do for that song is it's a song about journeying, and it's inspired by a chapter in a book called Underground by Robert McFarland, Underland maybe, and so that particular chapter was about caving, and so the song has a feeling of meandering and walking, and because of my new kind of relationship with people overseas, I wanted to include some of my friends, so it has people in different countries filming as well, people walking.
Where you're going. Starless Rivers. You were caged, thin, free.
And the idea was that we all kind of have an individual journey, but really we're all doing a journey kind of together. My experience in the last few years has become certainly more rather than looking at myself as an individual, it's sort of looking at myself as part of a greater whole. So, and that language learning and this collaborative project has really helped that. Yeah.
And so, speaking of journeys, are you going to be journeying around different places?
Well,
there's
nothing immediate
part of you?
planned. It's taken all of my it's been a very immersive project, and I had not been playing live for a while. I'd been taking a break. Apart from I'd been working with the children's theatre company, and I'd been guitar teaching before that, and so I kind of stepped back a little bit from actually physically playing. So this project's been like the production and composition and arrangement side of things. I mean, I'd certainly love to have the songs performed in the, but it requires some string players and it requires a lot of pulling people together.
Right.
So it remains to be seen yet what I will be doing in terms of playing.
But what about just traveling on your own without performing? To kind of explore.
Well, I might be going to Thailand next year. It's on the cards because one of my Iranian friends is going to be going there to sit an exam because she's trying to immigrate. Yeah, so that's a possibility. There's many layers in the songs, and my hope would be that it's the type of music that people might want to go back to and discover the layers. It's certainly for me is something that I like to actively listen to. It's not, I don't feel it's really background music as such sometimes, but so I really love the idea of people immersing themselves, getting a good sound system and sort of just taking time out to really listen to the music, that would be my hope. And for people to have it as a companion for themselves, like it has been to me,
Right. Okay. And has putting this project together changed you in any way?
It's made me, it's been a huge learning curve on many levels. And I think it's the learning more about collaboration and, like I say, along with the language learning, working with amazing people is, I think it makes me want to be more a part of the world in that way. Music is a communicative and something that people do together, and to be able to create with people and to be supportive of people and a part of something that's bigger than myself. I think that's what it's brought me to.
Well, good luck with it all.
Thank you
It's
so
pretty
much.
exciting, and we'll look for the new video.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so
See how
much,
that goes.
Marty.
My
You
pleasure.
too.
Thank you. Have a good day.